Hello everyone, and welcome to the channel. So I recently read Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. And yes, I realize we're on YouTube, so I am by far the first person to talk about this book. But I'm not here really to talk about what I liked or didn't like about it, because this book really got me to address a question that's been floating around in my head for a while. How do we decide who books are for? So while people have been writing books specifically to appeal to teens since around the 1940s, YA didn't really emerge as a literary genre until about 2000. You can ask a lot of people what YA really is, and for the most part you'll get a different answer depending on who you're talking to, but everyone can pretty much agree that YA is literature written for young readers. But what does that mean? Is it a lack of complex language? Is it the fact that the characters are going through teenage problems? What are teenage problems? I don't know about you, but I spent my teen years grappling with a lot of issues that I could only find reflected in books written for adults. So personally, the distinction that I've always made between YA and adult fiction is what they focus on. YA typically puts more emphasis on the plot, whereas more adult literary fiction puts more emphasis on the development of theme. Now, while older books for teens like Catcher in the Rye don't do this, in my experience, this has largely held true. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, think about the difference between The Hunger Games and The Old Man and the Sea. But on a plane from Portland back to Pittsburgh, I read through the entirety of Turtles All the Way Down, and I've got to say, it blows this definition out of the water. So most people can agree that John Green is a YA author, and while a lot of his books do tend to lean more on character than they do on plot, they always include some sort of adventure filled with teen hijinks to get us to the end. But reading this book was like a completely different experience. If you ask me what it's about, I probably honestly couldn't tell you. I mean, I've tried to recommend this book to so many people, and they're like, oh, what's it about? And I'm like, but the reason it was so powerful for me isn't what it was about, but what it was trying to do. Because in Turtles, John Green has created a near perfect document of what it's like to live with OCD. As someone with OCD myself, reading this book was like someone had cracked open my head and was just transcribing the thoughts that they found there. It was the first time that I've ever read something that I felt truly represented the way I felt about the world, and that was honestly life-changing. But I don't just want to talk about the fact that this book is really good at depicting OCD. I want to talk about the fact that this is inarguably a YA novel, and yet the plot is the least important thing about it, which to me really begs the question, what is YA? I'm an adult, yet I related to this book more than I've ever related to any book in my entire life. The problems it contained, the language it used, I saw myself more in this 16-year-old girl than I have ever seen myself in any book about a 25-year-old white American male. I'm not advocating that we all start writing YA or that we enact a complete abolishment of all age recommendations for books. But I guess what I am saying is there's this idea that YA is a less important genre, that in order to be taken seriously, you have to be writing serious adult fiction for adults. But Turtles All the Way Down proves that you can write YA fiction that's just as affecting, if not more, than any serious adult literature. You don't have to be afraid to write what some people might call YA. Don't think of the reader's age when you write it. Think of their hopes, their struggles, their insecurities. Just say what you came to say. Thank you all for joining me. This has been Left to Right. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave me comments, and let me know what you think about YA. Are you a YA reader? Do you think YA is stupid? Let's talk.